Hi everyone, it's Mike here and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So as you can see, I've got some square pieces of card in front of me. I'm going to create some of my AT or artist trading cubes or squares, which are 3.5 by 3.5. Normally an ATC is 2.5 by 3.5. I'm going to use the 3.5 size to go on both sides, because why not? So normally I like to cut my ATC substrates in one big piece like this, and then do the background, then cut them up, and then add my embellishments to my artist trading cards. But I can't do that today because what I want to do is slightly different. So I've had to cut 6 individual 3.5 by 3.5 inch squares. Now if you're interested in what that size is in millimeters, it's 89. But I think if you cut them at 90 by 90, I don't think anybody would really be too upset. It's just slightly over 3.5 by 3.5, but I don't think anybody would get too upset. The police won't come knocking on your door anyway, let's put it that way. So this is going to be the first one. Now I've got some colours out. Now I've got some blue. This is Williamsburg blue, which is a kind of grey blue. I've got olive green, which is, well, it's supposed to be a kind of darkish green, or an off kind of green, not kind of green, if you know what I mean. It's supposed to be like a moss green, but the camera's showing that as more like a lime green, but that's okay. And I've got terracotta, and I've also got dark chocolate, so I'm going to be mixing these two together while I apply these down. So I've also got some standby of white. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create some stripes. I don't know why I turned that round because it makes no difference what size or what side you've got this on. I'm going to be creating some stripes, so I'm going to be doing blue down one side, green in the middle, and blue at the bottom, or in that kind of order: blue, green, brown, or brown, green, blue, if you know what I mean. But I'm going to be doing it kind of randomly. So I've got a little brush, and what I will do is I will do this to each one individually. So we've got the blue first. I've not gessoed or anything on this watercolour cardstock, and watercolour cardstock I'm using is that one. So it's Dale Rowney 250 GSM, or £169. That's what I'm using, and it's mixed media, so good for everything, in case you're wondering. Okay, so because these are about 3.5 inches, then you can afford probably to go about 1 inch for each colour. So because I want to do 3 colours on each, I'm not going to keep swapping and changing my brushes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the blue on each one first, because it's more kind of economical to do it that way. And I probably should have put more paint down, but that's okay, that's fine. So I shall go away and do the same for all 6 of my cards, and then, as Arnie says, I'll be back. Okay, so that's the blue. Now these are not 100% dry yet, but that's fine. Don't really need them to be totally dry. And then I'm going to bring my green always that little bit of snot and kind of hard bit at the top with these ones. Yuck. Grab a wet wipe. Just for my fingers. There we go. I'll put a fair bit down because I know I'm going to use a fair bit. And then grab another brush. And this time we're going to do the green. And that's pretty much it. I'm not going to go any more exacting than that. So I shall carry on, do all the others, and then I'll be back again. Okay, so that's the 6 green. So again, just have a quick clean and tidy. So that's the blue and the green done. And again, I've not really let those dry much, so I will just quickly give those a blast. Okay, those first ones that I did were already dry. So now we want to do the brown. So I'm going to start off with the terracotta. Actually, I'm going to mix both together because I'm going to do a kind of a mottled effect on this bit. Give this a shake just to make sure that the binder is all mixed, and that's why they get all gloopy on the tops. I've also got a bit of a craft sponge, and I've also got a piece of torn card that I'm going to use as a kind of mask. And I'm just going to lay that down about there and then pick up and go across that side. And this is the reason why I wanted to do it in 2 kind of different shades, so you get a little bit of mottling and it's not all one flat colour. And then if you want to, you can just pick up a little bit of that darker colour and go back in. There we go. And when I lift that off, we've now got the stripe. I'm not too bothered about that gap in the green. That's fine. So I'm going to do the other 5, and then I'll be back once again. Okay, so that's the last one. So I can now clear this up, get those dried off, and then I'll be back. Okay, so I've got my 6 pieces all dry now. So what I want to do is just to add some stenciling. I forgot the word. So I've got some jet black stays on, and I've got a foam. So the stays on is a solvent based one, so it won't be it's not water reactive. And I've got my bat stencil, my Totes Amaze bats, and I'm just going to go and add some of those just across the top like that. And I'm going to do the same on all 6. I'm doing a vary the direction. Because this is a Halloween project, obviously. So you've got to have bats. I could have done it with black paint, but I like to vary the materials that I use occasionally. That and the fact that I really love the smell of this stuff. It smells like almonds. It's like a cherry bakewell. Here we go. Okay, so I'll get all this cleaned up, put away. I'll need some alcohol just to clean that off the work surface because it's solvent based, won't come off with water. And then we should be fine. Look how easy that comes off with a little bit of alcohol. Okay, so what I need to do now is, because I'm finished with the paint and the ink, is I'm just going to spend a few seconds off camera, keep that white one out, putting this lot away so that I've got plenty of workspace in front of me and I'm not confined to one square foot, which is what normally happens. This piece of brown multi-surface kind of thing that you can see is probably the extent of my work area. So I'll be back in 2 secs. Okay, so I've had a little bit of a tidy up. So these are my 6 artist trading cards that I've got, and I've printed off on my computer some moons. Little pretty moons. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just distress the edges. I've given these moons a bit of a sepia tone as well, and I've printed them out just big enough so that I could punch them out with a 2-inch punch. Okay, so let's just move all those out of the way, and then I can position the moon, grab some glue. What was that? That was a bumblebee a stamp, I don't know where that's come from. Okay, and then I can get the moon and I can position it just kind of in that top corner. Now I will vary between left and right. Let that dry, and then I'm going to snip off the excess. So we've just got the moon poking in. So what I'll do is I'll vary it from left to middle to right, just so that it's different on each one. Okay, so now you may be wondering why I've cut off half those. I could have used half on another one, but I didn't really know exactly what position I wanted to put them onto until I started gluing them down. So we now have 6 different moon positions. So now we can start adding some of our other embellishments. Okay, so I've got some little gravestones. So you may recognise these from the day 1 where I did the graveyard shift art journal page. Well, these are a little bit smaller, sized to fit these ATCs, so they can sit just there. And I've got this fantastic jack-o'-lantern. Again, you might recognise this one from the thumbnail. Again, appropriately sized to fit. And I've fussy cut these out just with a small pair of scissors. But because I'm distressing the edges, it doesn't really make any difference how if you've got a little bit of white showing, I'm trying to say, you don't necessarily have to make sure that you get them glued down exactly or cut out exactly, because if you're going to go around the edges with your distress, then it will hide a multitude of sins, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so first one will go like so. And then we'll get our jack-o'-lantern. I just want to put just a tiny bit of glue on the stalk. There we go. So for each one, I've got something different. I've got a gravestone and I've got a different embellishment that I want to sit on the card. So these are all my gravestones, still yet to be cut out. Cut a couple out, and I've still got different embellishments, but I'll save those for when I'm doing them. Okay, so I shall go away, cut out the rest of all the bits, and then I'll come back and then we'll stick them all down together. I think that's probably going to be the best bet, because you don't really want to be sitting there watching me fussy cutting for the next 20-25 minutes. No, ain't no one got time for that kind of behaviour. So I will see you in a little while. Okay, so I'm going to group those two together just for a bit of variety. So we've got that one done. So I'm going to glue all these gravestones down onto my card backs. So I just have to do it one at a time. So this is why I said about don't worry about where you've got white gaps, because I knew that they probably would get covered up a little bit. So let's add those on. I mean, somebody commented recently about how I always seem to know what I'm doing and where I'm going. But as with every project, things change because things happen or don't turn out the way that you were expecting them to be or do. So therefore you have to kind of think on the hoof and change and be adaptable. There's no point slavishly heading towards a goal if what you tried to do to start off with, like your foundation, isn't really working the way that you wanted it to. So you have to change and adapt. And that's kind of the human condition really, isn't it? You don't just carry on going like a robot banging its head against a wall. There's no point. These are cute. I like these. But I'm biased. It's surprising what you can create with freebie clip art. Because obviously, like everybody else, I try to find freebies before I spend any money. Because there's no point spending money on something when somebody else is offering it for free. Or something very similar for free anyway. That's a tall one. Right, and the last one. And of course, because this is a Halloween project, I thought it would be appropriate to use a spirit-based glue. I could hear you groan from here, right the way across the world. Okay, so let's have a quick look at what we've got. So far. Okay, so that one's kind of got its embellishment. So we need to sort out some embellishments on here next. So what I need to do is, these are the embellishments I've got. We've got a black cat, a ghostie, a witch's hat, a skull and a zombie's hand. So I just need to get those cut out and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got all of my individual little items all cut out and all distressed around the edges. All I have to do now is just to glue them in position. So you've seen what they're going to look like. So I'm just going to whiz round all the remaining 5. And then I'll be back. Okay, so all my little ghosties and ghoulies are all stuck down. So what I need to do now is just go around each and every one of the cards, just giving it that darker frame with the distress ink. So I'll do this to all 6. I forgot about that one. And then I'll be right back. Okay, so that's all 6 of those with the distressing around. So what I want to do now is just bring in jelly roll pen, and I just want to add in a few kind of like stars in the background. I didn't want to do some random kind of splatters because they would have probably got onto the moon or onto the gravestones themselves, and that's not really appropriate. Just adding a few kind of dot stars, doodle dot stars. It's a bit more controlled. I think looks just as good. Okay, so if we wanted to, we can now add a few kind of drop shadows using our Stabilo oil pencil. If I can find it, there it is. So I'm going to just add a little bit and then we can just go around adding some little darker areas. Excuse me. And leave those to dry. Just add a little bit on. It seems to be washing away quite quickly. We'll see how that goes. I know ghosties don't normally leave shadows, but there we go. Okay, so we'll leave those to dry. I'll have a tidy up and then I'll be back. Okay, so they're all dried. You can just see some of the darker shadows just forming on the bottoms there, underneath where the skull is, that kind of thing. So some's kind of subtle. Some look like they've almost disappeared altogether. I probably will go back in later on and add those. But what I want to do now, just flip them over just to finish off. And then I have my artist trading card backs. And I've actually printed these, or I've already filled them in because, you know, you don't want to see me sitting and writing these things out. So I've done it on the computer. And I've done, every single one I've got a different number. So that says 1 of 6. 2 of 6, I've mixed them up, 3 of 6, 6 of 6, 4 of 6, and there should be a 5 of 6 in here somewhere. There you go, 5 of 6. So, and I've just added some double-sided adhesive on the back just for ease. But I suppose what I could do is just add some distress ink on the back of those if I wanted to, but because they're the backs it doesn't really make any difference, it doesn't really matter. So I'm just trying to peel the back off, which can be a little bit fiddly when you've got double-sided adhesive on. Once you've got the back off, it's easy. Once you've got a corner, there we go. So this is number 3, so to make sure I've got it the right way up. And then I can just drop that down, hoping I've got that into the middle, or as near to the middle as I possibly can. There we go. So I just need to do that to all the others. Let's see, 2 of 6. So once I've done this, I'll be back and we'll just show all 6 finished cards. There we go. I'll hold them all up to camera, because I may need to get my head in shot for this. Okay, so that's the backs on all 6. So we'll just flip them over. Card 1, card 2, card 3, card 4, card 5, card 6. So apart from maybe just signing the fronts of each one, and maybe just going round the back side with a little bit of distressing, but to be honest I don't really think it needs it, but I'll do it anyway. So apart from that, these cards are pretty much done and ready to be sent out or swapped. In the coming weeks. So there we go, dead easy. So I hope you've enjoyed watching me creating these. I've called them the Graveyard Galleria. These artist trading cards or cubes, if you want to call them that. If you have, please remember to give the video a thumbs up, share the video with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, you can do so by clicking the button at the end of the video. And don't forget, if you're new to my YouTube channel and you like these kind of Halloween projects, there are at least another 5 years worth of 7 days of Halloween projects that you can catch up on if you want to. So they're all on the playlist on my YouTube channel, or if you go to my website and click on the blog, down the categories down the right hand side there are links to each of the years from I think about 2016. So there you go, there's my Graveyard Galleria artist trading cards for 2021. I always forget the 1 because 2020 wasn't really a year, was it? Anyway, that's all from me for now. I'll see you all again very, very soon. Bye for now.